Hello everybody and welcome to That's Football. Roy Keane back into management at Sunderland, ? Question to myself, I suppose. But I tell you what, it's quite telling that we will talk a little bit about the FA Cup, but on FA Cup weekend, the biggest story is, will Roy Keane go and manage a League One club? I think it just tells you the excitement around the FA Cup. And I'm not knocking the FA Cup, it's not a bad trophy, but Roy Keane returning to management would be very, very interesting. And look, I want to pose this in the sense that the job is a very good job for Roy Keane to take. If you're not aware where Sunderland are, they're in League One. They got smashed by Bolton 6-0 last week, but they are third in League One and they're comfortably in those playoff spots. I think they're 7 points off being outside of the playoffs. So it's a fantastic job to take over, because if you go in and you do well and you get momentum, you probably get automatically promoted. You're in the Championship and then your job starts with a bit of it's like a January signing really. I think, for Liverpool buying Diaz, you bring him in January. Does it really matter how long he takes to adjust, because you've got those few months till the summer? He's then on the summer tour and he comes into the team next season and he's used to the club. So from that sense, I think it makes sense for Roy Keane. I would throw in the Gabby Bonglahor comments that I've seen. I think it was on TalkSport today, and he was saying that basically his man management skills, Roy Keane, is 0 out of 100, and he was disrespectful to senior players at Aston Villa like Joe Cole. And I'm like, at the end of the day, Bonglahor, you're never going to be a manager, are you? Get off your arse and do it yourself. You just sit there on TalkSport talking shit, and it just comes across as ridiculously bitter to say that somebody's got 0 man management skills. It is what it is. He clearly told you off, didn't he? And you don't like it. That's not constructive. This is what appalls me about ex-players when they're talking about things, that they bring in their bitterness and jealousy, and he's very clearly very bitter. There's no doubt that Roy Keane is very abrupt. I'm not going to ignore that. There may be issues around man management skills. There's stories from Ireland, there's stories from Villa, there's stories from other clubs that he's managed. But I want to see Roy Keane back in management. We have some amazingly good pundits. I'm not going to include Jamie O'Hara or Gabby Bonglahor in that, but Gary Neville's interesting at times. Jamie Carragher's good at times. Roy Keane is very interesting to listen to. But look at Steven Gerrard. Look at Frank Lampard. This is where you want to see these ex-great players of the game managing and doing well, because that's how you become a legend of the game, isn't it? You can do it as a player and as a manager, and we've seen Gerrard doing fantastically well at Villa. We'll see what Lampard does at Everton. Obviously, it's 2 leagues down for Roy Keane, but I think Roy Keane has to do that. He's a little bit older. He's had other clubs. He's managed Sunderland before, Ipswich. So it'd be very interesting, because it's very rare that you take a job and the club is in a good position. And as I said, Sunderland, 3rd in the league. They fell on bad times with their previous manager and stuttered a little bit. They want that promotion. They've sacked the manager. They've probably made the right choice, because they were starting to hit a bad bit of form. But coming in as the manager of Sunderland, you are straight away in 3rd place, comfortably in the playoffs, like I say, and automatic promotion is in sight. And I think Roy Keane would probably suit. I suppose it's that. I'd be interested to see what the comments say. I suppose it's that payoff, really, isn't it? Do you want a manager that's modern day, modern football, arm around the shoulder of everybody? Or do you want a manager that comes in and just kicks everyone up the arse? As a United fan, I wouldn't want Roy Keane, because he hasn't got the level of experience you need to manage, a high-end Premier League club. Notice how I don't say top 4 anymore, but ideally top 4. But I think there is also a general tiredness and fatigue amongst football fans in relation to the modern day footballer, who is just completely wrapped up in cotton wool, with agents and admins running their social media and brands queuing up, and it's just all about their arm round the shoulder, treating them like bloody rock stars. And actually it doesn't really work. The clubs that are successful are focused on football. Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, they're driven by success on the pitch, and their players, whilst they may have brand deals and everything like that, they're very professional players who want to get the most out of their careers. Jordan Henderson, Mo Salah, Van Dijk, I'm trying to think of other players now. Even at Chelsea, your Mason Mounts, your Rudigers at Manchester City. They're just in Pep's mould, aren't they? They're in that mentality all the time. Raheem Sterling and Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne. Maybe not. That's not the same at other clubs. Maybe fans are becoming tired of that, and maybe Roy Keane as a manager is what football does need. That things go in cycles. You look at the clothing industry, you look at the music industry. Something that was popular 20 years ago and not popular 5 minutes ago can suddenly be popular again. And maybe there's a new style of management that's needed in football. We certainly need to get respect back in football, and we certainly need to get some discipline back in football, because I think there's too many things going on behind the scenes where, you know, footballers are just, you know, a rule unto themselves. And, you know, it's interesting when you get a Bonglahor moaning about the manager not respecting the players, and I sort of think, well, at the end of the day, respect cuts both ways. Are the players putting the work in that's required to compete with the Man Cities and the Liverpools? And, you know, Roy Keane going into a club like Sunderland with footballers that, you know, probably still aren't even fit to lace his boots at his age. The problem is if you've got players who don't want to buy into that. And I think it's a modern thing in footballers that they're so, what is the word? I don't want to use the word arrogant, but they're so protected and, you know, sort of mollycoddled and spoiled that when a manager comes in and gives them the hard lines, they're on the phone to their agent, they're on the phone to the CEO. Me and the lads, we don't like this manager. He shouted at us this morning. He's got no right to do that. He's got no right to do that. I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about that manager telling me and a couple of other lads off, and we want him out the club. And as bad as that sounds, basically happened to Mourinho at United. So, you know, and Mourinho did deserve the sack. I mean, you know, the football wasn't good enough, but, you know, you do get that. So you do wonder about a Roy Keane in the modern game. And, you know, life's for living. Ronaldo back at United at 36. Yes, thank you. You know, all right, I'd prefer him at 29, but 36 is better than nothing. And, you know, you know, let's go for it. And I think Roy Keane back in management, yeah, let's go for it. I'll be interested to see what he can do. Maybe he goes in there, the players, you know, throw the toys out the pram, we don't like being shouted at, and they don't do well. But maybe this is the new sort of, you know, maybe the cycle's going to turn again. Maybe we need that sort of discipline and respect back in football. And, you know, if that happens, I certainly think Roy Keane would be very interesting to watch. I'd certainly expect him to go and get Sunderland promoted, and then in the Championship, it's a tough league. But Sunderland are a big club. They've got money, and, you know, they could, you know, he could be taking them up to the Prem. So watch this space. I hope he takes the job, basically. I don't know what your thoughts are. In relation to the FA Cup, yeah, I mean, look, I'd expect most of the big teams to come through. I think the best game of the weekend is probably Leicester against Forest. I think that's been an East Midlands derby and a decent Championship side against the Leicester side that is the holders. I think that's the watch along we're going to do on Sunday, and I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, United against Borough, I'd expect United to win that. I don't see any of the big teams coming out. I think the most exciting thing of the weekend may well be the draw for the 5th round, but apart from maybe that Leicester game. But we will see. Anyway, thoughts on Roy Keane back in management. Smash a like on the video, get your comments in below, and make sure you subscribe. Thanks everyone for watching. As I said, we've got some watch-alongs for you this weekend. Definitely going to do Leicester's game, and probably might do the AFCON final, Salah against Mane as well. So make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, and I'll speak to you all in a bit.